Hey everybody, it's Atheist for the Cause here, and I've got the Young Turks video for you. So, is lawyer Don Jr. met with actually connected to Kremlin. So, Jimmy Dore is about to talk about whether the lawyer that Donald Trump Jr. met with, whether she's actually connected to the Kremlin or not. And I know it says this is a response video, but largely I'm going to agree with Jimmy Dore here. And of course, it is going to be Jimmy Dore, the only one on the Young Turks that brings any sort of truth to any matter these days. And I want to show you something. You know why the Young Turks doesn't do more of this? 31 likes, 22 dislikes. I know it's still early with 400 views, but they have built an audience of stupidity. And it's not that they're stupid, it's more that they're blinded by partisanship. And their audience wants nothing but to hate on Trump. Now look at here, they hate on Donald Trump Jr. Over 4,000 likes to less than 400 dislikes. Again here, over 2,700 likes to about 300 dislikes. Again here, over 4,600, almost 4,700 likes to less than 600 dislikes. Okay, so I'm going to close those three out. And the ratio just is not the same for the most fact-based video I've seen on the Young Turks in a while. So let's take a listen.
Donnie Tonahan Jr.'s son got in trouble. And I've seen it misreported, or what I consider to be a misreporting of the story. We're going to give you the Jimmy Dore aggressive progressive look at this, because you know what I've said about this whole Russia thing is that this is a big distraction. And
I'm a bit torn on Jimmy Dore, by the way. It's like, yes, he's mostly telling, he tells the most truth of anybody on the Young Turks. At the same time, I'm not sure I really want that. I don't want him to win out. I kind of just want the Young Turks to continue to fail miserably. Do I really want Jimmy Dore to win out in this battle of the words and, you know, of ideas and reform the Young Turks in a positive way? That's a tough one, because I have a feeling that they'll still reform in a way that I'll overall disagree with. But at least they'll be using, you know, doing it on more of a factual basis, and that'll make them more formative. Right now, they're basically my opponents, but they're not formative at all.
the Democratic Party just installed a pharmaceutical fucking lobbyist as their chairman, okay? And you guys still think Trump is the problem? Okay. Trump is a problem. Trump is not the problem. He is the effect of the problem. He is not the problem. Okay.
That framing is brilliant. How do you get your viewers to be to get off of, you know, Trump is the problem? Because if you said Trump's not the problem with no alternative, they're gonna turn on you badly. But the framing is brilliant to say he's not the problem, he's the he's the effect of the problem. And it's like, that's so true, you know, from their perspective. If you just, you know, if Trump leaves, their problems stay. But Trump got into office because of how the Democrats were acting. And it's really the Democrats that you need to reform. And what the progressives need to realize is that Trump has created this vacuum, this power vacuum within the Democratic Party. But the corporate liberals will hang on to the power if nobody takes it. And if the progressives show themselves to be worse than the liberal corporatists, well then people aren't going to get on board. And they're actually being less factual, or at least equally unfactual to the CNNs of the world. So why should they take, you know, why should people give the power to people like the Young Turks or companies like the Young Turks? They really shouldn't. They're no better than CNN at this point.
Okay. So I don't know, if you go to my computer, I remember days like this. You remember this, Malcolm and stuff? Remember that? No, that's the cover of Time magazine. Yanks to the rescue, the secret story of how American advisors helped Yeltsin win. So we were, oh my God. So it turns out we were interfering in Russia's election, and so we tapped Angela Merkel's phone. So anybody trying to pretend that even if what they say is true, that somehow the Russian government or some agent working tapped into the DNC's server, which is a private goddamn fucking organization, everyone, we tapped Angela Merkel's phone. Does that mean we're at war with Germany? So Germany try to have a retaliation because we got caught tapping Angela Merkel's phone? So this is a big distraction.
This is exactly true. This angle doesn't get talked about nearly enough. Even if all this shit is true, which it's not, but even if it was, then all Russia did was expose bullshit going on. Like, sure, you can talk about the future and how it could risk elections in the future and stuff, but as for what actually happened in this election, even if you give the Democrats every argument they're making, Russia effectively did a good thing at that point by exposing Clinton and the DNC for being horribly corrupt and actually rigging their own election. I mean, is it really bad for a foreign entity to expose that a domestic entity rigged our elections? Anyways.
It's a big distraction. So we know, even if everything they said is true and Russia's hacked into the DNC and John Podesta, what did they do? They told us the truth, that the DNC was corrupt and lying, and they were rigging the election. Okay, so that's how
truth bombs all over the place. This is it's funny how much more factual this video is and how much less credit it gets by their viewers.
Progressive looks at this, and if you don't look at it like that, maybe you're not so progressive. Okay, right? That's how I feel. Does anybody disagree? If you disagree, keep it to yourself.
I love that because he just wants to do his own thing. I'm sure one of the other people would have disagreed and there would have been some debate. He doesn't want it to seem like there is a debate. He just wants to give his tangent, and given that they had put plenty of time into slamming Trump and slamming this false narrative, I think it's perfectly fine that Jimmy Dore just wants to go on a 5-minute tangent here and expose all the bullshit of like the hours of bullshit that they put in the past couple of months.
The irony is that the United States not only helped Yeltsin win, but after the fall of communism, we went over there and set up their economic system.
Yes!
Notice who the panel is. I don't even know who the middle girl is. I've seen this guy like once or twice. He's apparently a producer. Where the hell is Cenk? Where the hell is Anna? So, like, where are the main alternative people? Like that British guy, or there's the cousin of Cenk. Like, none of the main people are on here. Nobody wanted to be on the set with Jimmy Dore, apparently.
And then they created the oligarchs, who then now fund Donald Trump, and it's a nice cycle there.
Yes. Okay, but when was I supposed to stop being afraid of Russia? That was in the 80s, right?
Who the hell is the miserable liberal? I don't get it. I've never seen her before. I don't watch the Young Turks much anymore, but I've never seen this woman before.
You were supposed to, even when Mitt Romney ran against Barack Obama, we were supposed to be done being afraid of them. Remember that? I'll show you that video. So let's get to what happened. So this is Donnie Tanahans Jr. And so he got an email from this guy. That's the linchpin in this story. Literally, that's the guy.
Those are honest laughs in the background. Like the producer guy that's laughing. He is honestly, he can't hold his laugh because this is so ridiculous. Oh, Jimmy Dore is fucking hilarious.
Rob Gladstone.
That's Rob Gladstone. So this guy here sent an email to Donnie Tanahans and set up a meeting with this woman, Natalia Vashchegoblovskaya. She's a Russian attorney. And here's the even better thing. So The Guardian put that out.
I'm going to rewind that so you can see that.
She's a Russian attorney, and here's even.
So they split it into two where you can't see it as well, but this is what I've been trying to tell you guys in past videos. This connection to Trump is so weak. So Trump is connected to this guy through Jimmy Dore is going to go through this, but apparently through like a pageant, and his son that they did in like Russia, and that his son is like a pop singer, and this publicist is the pop singer's. This is the publicist of this pop singer, and this publicist contacted Trump Jr., who's connected to Trump, obviously, and then the publicist put Trump Jr. and the lawyer in a meeting together, and she's also connected to Kushner and Manafort because they attended a meeting with Trump Jr. So, I mean, this is almost no fucking connection at all.
Better thing. So the Guardian put that out. And if you look, the guy at the upper right, so he's a guy who worked with Trump before, Aris Agalarov. I can't say names. So his son, Emin, not Eminem, but Emin Agalarov, he's a pop singer. And then that guy, that funny looking guy, he's a public relations guy who works for that Eminem. So you don't really even need to know this stuff. It really doesn't matter. So this guy, Emin, his dad was supposed to be giving information to Trump, right? That's the whole thing. So if you look, see the woman in the middle, there's Rob Goldstein on the right, there's Donald Trump Jr., Jared Kushner. So it's not really as complicated as it actually makes it seem. Right. So here, let me just get to his emails. So let's get to his emails. Emin, so that's the young pop star from Russia. Emin just called and asked me to contact you with something very interesting. The Crown Prosecutor of Russia met with his father, Aris, this morning, and in their meeting offered to provide the Trump campaign with some official documents and information that would incriminate Hillary and her dealings with Russia, would be very useful to your father. This is obviously very high level and sensitive information, but is part of Russia and its government support for Mr. Trump. And Donald Trump Jr. said, if that's what you say it is, I love it, especially one later this summer.
Okay, notice this. If it's what you say, I love it, especially later in the summer. He still doesn't know, Donald Trump Jr. still doesn't know what the meeting is actually about. There's some doubt here because a publicist is telling him, you know, what the meeting's going to be about. But publicists always play things up. That's their job. And so, you know, as Scott Adams says, it's the publicist's job to be a professional liar and get you meetings and get people to do things that they wouldn't normally otherwise do. So, you know, Donald Trump Jr. is not going into this meeting knowing what it's going to be about. He's got some idea, but he's got some doubt.
He likes to have a better tan, I guess, when he goes to these meetings, like a deeper tan.
So I know you know this story. I just want to get it out there. So then this is the one that set it up. Don, hope all is well. Emin asked that I schedule a meeting with you and the Russian government attorney who was flying over from Moscow for the...
Honestly, it's, I think this was some sort of plan, to be honest. I think someone paid this guy because the way this is worded, to say this Russian government attorney and all this shit, it just sounds like it was like they planted this or something in order to use it against the Trumps later. Maybe I'm just being too conspiratorial, but whatever. Just because he says it's a Russian government attorney doesn't actually make it true. You know, we can't just take his words as like literal and factual.
This Thursday, I believe you are aware of this meeting, and so wondered if 3 p.m. So there it is. So that guy, that PR guy, who's connected to a guy who Trump worked with in his beauty pageant over in Russia, they set up a meeting with Donald Trump saying that they got some information. By the way, there's no such thing as a Crown prosecutor. There's no, so they, hey, there's a...
I think he was going to say that that's some bullshit. Because it is, like... So I actually didn't know there's no such thing as a Crown prosecutor, so, you know, just Jimmy Dore bringing the truth bombs.
Person's got some information, it may come from the Russian government, right? About Hillary Clinton. Now, notice what it didn't say. It didn't say illegally gotten information. Information could have been information that's already in the public record that maybe you didn't know about. Hey, I heard a story the other night. This is information. It could be anything.
Also notice that the publicist came to Trump Jr. Trump Jr. didn't go to the publicist. And nothing of value came from this meeting. You need two things. Number one is you need to gain something of value. Number two is you need to solicit somebody else for this to be any sort of crime, or even as low as, like, campaign finance law, breaking campaign finance laws. But if someone comes to you with information, there's no problem going to the meeting for that information.
So here's how the newspaper, here's how
and you would, if you learned of something valuable or something like that, or something you don't think you should have known, that's when you report it. But you're not going to report it if nothing came of the meeting.
Corporate news is reporting this. This is from the Huffington Post. It says Tuesday's revelation comes after an earlier New York Times story on Trump Jr.'s meeting with the Kremlin-linked lawyer. So that's how they referred her. They just say she's Kremlin-linked, and that's it. They don't go here.
By the way, she herself denies that she is linked to the Kremlin.
Here's how she's linked, but here's what I found out. So I've tried to find out how she's linked to the Kremlin. So here's how, this is all I could find out. Maybe there's more. Her name is Natalia Veselnitskaya, and it says whose clients have included Russia's state-owned businesses and the son of a senior Russian government official.
I mean, are we really calling this a link? A client who, clients, I guess, have included Russian state-owned businesses and the son of a senior Russian government official. Like, that is so small. So, like, that's such a weak connection. I don't even think I would call it a connection.
So that's the extent. That's the extent of her connection to the Kremlin.
This is what I've been trying to tell you guys, but he's put some, like, really good graphics together, so I wanted to show you, because I'm not the only one saying this, and, these graphics are really good if you're a visual person to see that there might not even be a link to the Kremlin, but if there is a link, it's very, very weak. And that's if you completely buy the whole story, which there's so many holes in the story, it's not even funny.
When they say Kremlin linked, that's what they mean. She's a lawyer, and she represented some government-owned businesses, and she represented a son of a politician. Who knows how? Maybe he got caught with coke.
By the way, don't quote me on this, but I believe that, if I remember right, some of the businesses that were quote-unquote Russian-owned, they were only partially Russian-owned. Like, I think some of them were, like, the government might have technically had stocks in some of the business, but didn't own all of it.
So, I don't know, right? So, a source who knows, this is also from The Guardian, a source who knows her also told The Guardian she has a long-standing personal connection with Yuri Chaka, Russia's powerful prosecutor. So she has she didn't have a business relationship. She didn't work for the guy. She's not a part, they say she knows this. She's a lawyer who works with a lot of rich business guys, and so they say she knows this guy. No kidding. But that doesn't mean she's linked to the Kremlin. All right. Now, I'm not just saying that she isn't. I'm saying I can't find proof of it. And people just throw that out there.
And by the way, we shouldn't have to go looking for the proof. I mean, the people saying that she's Kremlin linked, I mean, it's not like these are random people on the internet. These are professional magazines with all kinds of money behind them. They should be telling us how they're linked. And he's gone through, and literally what he went through is all I've read on how this lawyer is connected to the Kremlin. And he's about debunked why that's any sort of meaningful link, as I have in the past. And if there was more, wouldn't they have told us more? I mean, maybe there's more they don't know about, but I certainly don't think they have anything else.
Because you could say...
And by they, I mean, the mainstream media like The Guardian and those kinds of mainstream media sources.
So here's what The Guardian says. Vesna is no Kremlin power broker. That's what they say. This is The Guardian. She is no Kremlin power broker, having spent most of her career working on business disputes in the courtrooms of the Moscow region, a province that surrounds but does not include the city itself. That's from The Guardian. Okay. So I know two guys who are who are lawyers who work for the Young Turks. You could say those people are, oh, they're DC connected lawyers. Why? Because they work with politicians who work in DC. I've seen them
No, it's even less than that. She didn't even work for Moscow. In Moscow, she worked in the area surrounding Moscow. So it'd be like, he knows someone that worked with, you know, in the area surrounding DC. It's like always when you try to explain it, the connection is even weaker than you try to then it like comes out.
Interview them. I've seen them. Do you see what I'm saying? You could just say the same thing about anybody.
So he's absolutely right, but of course, the Young Turks fans don't care about truth. So, I'm gonna give this a like because I'm gonna support Jimmy Dore, and try to send a message that, hey, when you do good shit, you know, we'll support you, but when you do bad shit, then we're not going to. But I don't think they'll get the message given the ratio here. So I'll talk to you guys later. And I've got some more of the Young Turks videos coming up. My power supply burned out, so I couldn't do videos for a couple days. But now I'm ready to go with a couple more videos. So have a good one.